By St. Barnabas, in addition to 1230 WBVP Beaver Falls.
It's now time for One Man's Opinion on Sports with Bryan Pasquale. The phone lines are open at 724-843-1888 and 724-774-1888. You can also watch live on the WBVP-WNBA Facebook page. Here is your host, Bryan Pasquale.
Welcome to One Man's Opinion on Sports with me, Bryan Pasquale. I'm here at the St. Barnabas Studios. Joining me today is my producer, Ryan Garazunas. He's ready to take your calls at 724-843-1888 or 724-774-1888. Also, make sure you check us out on Beaver County Radio Facebook Live. And I just saw on my phone, Ryan, I got a notification of the show starting right now.
Did you really?
Yes, I just looked down. And
what would you have done if you wouldn't have known?
I would have, I don't know, maybe I'll tune in on my phone and listen to it on Beaver County Radio YouTube.
That's right, or 1230 WNBA, or WBVP and 99.3.
Absolutely.
WBVP.
Well, today's show is sponsored by Easy Home Exteriors. They do roofing, replacement windows, doors, and entryways, as well as siding. Easy Home Exteriors is a one-stop shop for all of your exterior modeling needs. For a free estimate, call 412-678-7008. That's 412-678-7008. I have some Kennywood news to start off the show, Ryan. I know it's not sports-related, but it is Kennywood news.
Kennywood news.
The steel curtain... No, not the 70s Steelers defense. The roller coaster at Kennywood will be closed for the entire season.
Wow, why is that?
They say to increase ride longevity and reliability. So I don't know if it didn't pass some inspections or, I'm just speculating at this point. But, I mean, that's one of your biggest attractions, and it's closed for the entire season. So if you're heading to Kennywood, there will be no steel curtain ride for you. It goes up and down and around. I went on it a couple times. It's a good ride.
Yeah, I mean, that is one of their main attractions. Of course, everybody knows the Steel Phantom and rides like this, but this has been one of the newer fun rides that people look forward to, Brian.
Yeah, so that's a bummer. Well, moving on to some sports news. Last night, there was some hockey played.
Yeah. It's like the old line from Friday. How do you get fired on your day off? Basically, is what happened with the Penguins.
The Penguins got eliminated on their day off. They will be playing tonight versus the Islanders up there in New York, and it's irrelevant. I guess they're just playing for pride. So I don't know what's going to go on with them. They had a terrible power play all season. They gave up a lot of shorthanded goals. They were terrible at 3-on-3 and overtimes. They're just a mess. They seem like they're going to keep their core four. They seem like they're going to keep their coach. So I think we're in for the same next season too, Ryan.
Yeah, it looks like. And, I've been saying this for a while, Brian. If you want to continue to make your ticket sales about these 3 or 4 Hall of Famers on your team, that's one game plan, and the other game plan is bringing down the house and starting over fresh, coming in with young legs and kind of going that route. And it appears to me that they're going for the sure buck, Brian, and they're going to continue to sell these names that are on the back of their jerseys until they can't beat that horse anymore.
And we're going to watch slow, sloppy hockey.
Yeah. I mean, you figure last year it took us down to the last game. This year it took us down to a day before the last game. What's it going to be next year? They're going to be out a month, before the season's over. Who knows? But they have to, if they want this team to get better, they have to make them changes.
All right. Well, I want to get into some more bad news about the Pirates, but I do have a little NBA news. I know you're really into the NBA, Ryan. Jonte Porter. We all know who Jonte Porter is, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I don't know who he is. But anyway, he's some bench player for the Raptors. I guess he was, him and his friend were cheating the system, and they were doing prop bets on how many shot attempts he would have per game. And before he would get to his over on his shot attempts, he would fake injuries and go into the locker room, and the bookies caught on, and the NBA has banned him for life from the NBA.
I'm surprised things like this doesn't happen more now that you have gambling involved in your prominent sports. Even when you watch your ESPN shows about the game, they have to tell you the bet lines. They tell you this, they tell you the over, they tell you the under. You knew this had to come, and I got to be honest with you, to think that it isn't going on anywhere else is crazy, I think. Right?
Oh, it's absolutely been going on forever. I remember a bunch of college players, after they were done long past the game, they said the mafia rolled the whole college basketball, and I'm sure football.
And I can't recall the guy's name. Just about a month ago, there was a football player from out west somewhere. I don't remember who he was, but he said the same thing. He said the mafia is involved in a lot of college football games too. So,
maybe they're making money off it.
Yeah,
good for them, I guess. If somebody wants to take money, I guess.
Right.
You got to suffer the consequences.
I guess you got to look for the guys that are trying to enter the draft that are missing fingers if you want to try to confirm this, right?
Yeah, to pay off that $20,000 debt one way or another, right?
Right.
All right. Well, sticking with the NBA here before we get into the Pirates, the Lakers won last night. I can't handle it, Ryan. I mean, it was another referee fix, if you would say. They shot 14 more free throws than the Pelicans. I don't get it. It's just in the last 2 years, the Lakers have shot 1,104 more free throws than their opponents.
That's unbelievable.
The next highest were the Knicks at like 300 and something. So why are the Lakers, who they don't drive the ball to the hole? It's not like that. That's their game. They don't drive the ball to the hole more than anybody else. But the fix is definitely in because I guess LeBron and the Lakers get ratings. So the Lakers are in.
I'd be curious to know what part of that number that you gave us was actually LeBron attempts. I'd be willing to bet it was most of them.
Well, I would like to think so. Last night he got 10 free throw attempts himself. The Pelicans got 15 as a team.
Wow.
So
I seen the chart that you recently put up on social media, and it's unreal because you had numbers, and you said what they won 40 some last year, 40 some this year, and if you're only winning 40 games, but you have that many more free throws than everybody else in the league, something seems off.
Yeah, I mean it's all about what did you call it, like the show? It's a
show.
It's more like WWE.
Yes.
It's a lot more scripted than we think. The Warriors go down last night to the Kings, so the New Orleans Pelicans will be playing the Kings tomorrow. Tonight, the Miami Heat play the 76ers, and Atlanta plays Chicago. And let's move on from the NBA to the Pirates. The last 3 games swept.
Yeah.
Are they back to being what we thought they were?
No, I got to tell you this, Brian. I'm disappointed. I'm watching a game the other day, and they certainly look like they're in midseason form. And what I mean by midseason form for the Pirates, think
That's
about
not
it.
good.
Yeah, think about it for a minute. I mean, they're getting lazy in the field already. That's not good after 2.5 weeks of baseball. I can't remember the last time that O'Neal Cruz or Henry Davis hit a baseball, and then when Connor Joe throws the ball into the ground, and that
was the most awkward looking throw I've seen in a long time.
And it's you're trying to decipher, was it to home, was it to first, was it to cutoff? No, it actually went foul, like past the foul. Like where was that ball thrown to anyway? They look real sloppy. I don't know, bro. It just seems like Shelton got to sit these guys down and say, guys, fundamentals. I seen a ball go right underneath O'Neal Cruz's glove. Just a whole bunch of lazy baseball.
Right. I worked with this guy whenever I was in high school. I worked at Camelot Music. Yes, folks, back when you could buy cassette tapes and CDs and DVDs. And this one guy I worked with, he never played any sports, and he was like a built guy. And I was like, how did you not play sports? And the one time I had to go to his car to get something for, whatever he brought from some other store or something. And across the store, he threw me his keys. And I said, yeah, that's why you didn't play sports. Good old Ray. I hope he's doing well. Here's another thing. So yesterday, the Pirates were up after 5 innings, 1-0. Yeah. Jared Jones has a one-hitter going. He's thrown 59 pitches, 50 of them for strikes, strikes out 7, gets pulled.
Yeah.
What are they doing?
Well, it's funny because when it's on the other shoe, it also gets screwed up because there's days that he leaves guys in there way too long. He pulls guys out way too early. And you see this in baseball. Some coaches just don't have that. They don't monitor that right, and they're always pulling the trigger at wrong times. I've noticed that, and we've certainly been doing that so far this year. Yeah, within the past 10 days, I'd say. I thought the first few games looked great, and as I said, over the past 10 days or so, they've lost a bunch of baseball games. They've played some lazy ball, and again, there was some bad decisions, I thought, by Coach Shelton.
Well, I recall the first game of the season. I believe we were texting back and forth the extra inning games where they kept sending the guys home from third, and they were out by like 5 steps every time.
You're right.
So, I don't know what they're got going on there, but it's not good. I don't understand. Jared Jones is an absolute beast. You know who else is a beast? Paul Skeens.
Yeah.
He seems to be pitching 3 innings down in Indianapolis there at AAA per game. So he's at 9.1 innings pitched in 3 games, 3 outings. He's given up 4 hits, 2 walks. He has 19 strikeouts.
Wow.
I just don't think this guy's ready. No earned runs, Ryan. No earned runs.
And the thing about it, some of these guys that are ready, that are in our rotation, that are up on the club, they couldn't go down and get 19 strikeouts in 9 innings pitched. You know what I mean?
Right. I mean, Jared Jones is the only guy like that on our current roster, and he's 22.
Right.
Paul Skeens I think he's around 22. So I don't know if next year or the year after that, but I believe those are going to be our 1-2 punch. Keller will probably fall down to third, which is
I'm
where he's
fine
more
with,
like.
right.
Yeah, I mean, he's a good 3 or 4 on a contending team. The last time the Pirates were a contending team, Ryan, I don't know. Did you ever watch Dude, Where's My Car? I know you're not a movie guy.
I could recall parts
They went to a
pieces.
cult meeting at one point, and they did the Zoltan.
Yeah.
Well, McCutcheon broke it out. You got to hit.
I seen that.
And
Saw
McCutcheon standing there on first base. Zoltan.
Yes, I like it. Maybe they'll bring the Zoltan back, and maybe it could give us some of that the good vibes that they got 10, 12 years ago.
Yeah, the Pirates have off tomorrow, and boy, do they need it. Brian Hayes was a late scratch yesterday. Bart, our new catcher, is a late scratch today. So they've got some bumps and bruises already this short into the season. Friday, they will host the Boston Red Sox at 6:40. Then they play them on Saturday at 4:05 and Sunday at 1:35. And then we host the Brew Crew for 4.
That's
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday next week.
If we would have continued to play, any bit similar to how we played in the first week and a half, I would be confident going into the Boston-Milwaukee series. But, at this point, Brian, we're just, a few hours away from being swept by the Mets, who's not that great of a team. You do get that day off. You come home, you play Boston and Milwaukee. That's 7 games, I believe. Mm-hmm. That's a lot of games to lose ground if we, in fact, continue to play the way we have been over the past 4 or 5 days.
Well, they at least have 10 in a row because immediately, and it's odd because they played home on Thursday at 12:35 versus the Brew Crew. Then they fly out to San Francisco and play Friday, Saturday, Sunday versus the Giants.
You know what? Luckily, I think we play the A's after that. If we could somehow get to that A's series.
Can we schedule them a little more often?
You're right.
So the Pirates have gone from top of the Central to now I believe they're behind the Cubs and the Brewers. Oh. Yeah, it's depressing already. We're falling down the charts faster than Beyonce's new country song.
How it's just wild because we get pulled in every year, and I know a lot of people give us that for it, but we get excited. This team, they start off hot, they look good, and why not us? Why not the Pirates? Why can't we get excited like everybody else? But they do the same thing to us every year, and here we are. Hopefully this isn't it. Hopefully last year they at least waited till the end of April to start throwing in the towel. Come on, it's a little early, guys.
Yeah, I mean, we got Henry Davis batting 170-something, Zawinski batting 170-something. You're not a major league player hitting like that. I know people have slumps and whatnot. O'Neal Cruz even, I know he had a year off, but he has 29 strikeouts already this year.
Yeah, leads the team in strikeouts, I think.
What are you looking at?
You're right.
Yeah, a lot of called third strikes too. So I don't know what's going on with the Pirates, but it is not very good. I don't even know who's starting Friday. I tried to find out. It's to be determined, and I don't know who they're going to have start for them.
It was supposed to be on Friday, I think, because today's Bailey Falter, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes,
which would have made Gonzalez the next pitcher, but he's out now.
Right.
So we do not have any idea.
Yeah, because they have Keller set to start on Saturday, which reboots the rotation again. So I just don't know if they're going to call somebody up for a one-game trial or what we're going to do. So I don't know. We'll see. The Red Sox are in last place in the American East.
Okay. It's just wild. 4 days ago, we are tied with the Yankees and the Dodgers for the best record in the league. And here we are falling fast, right?
Here we are right behind the Oakland Athletics.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, from the top of the mountain to the lowest valley quickly. So that's the thing, too. That's what you need a Paul Skeens for. That's what you need a Jared Jones for. Mitch Keller to some degree. when you're losing, you need a stopper that just comes in and gets you back on the winning path.
Absolutely. And you got to think, Brad, this all started. It really did. It all started with the last game that we played at Pittsburgh. The day that David Bednar got booed out of the game was the last time that, this road series we did. We went on the road. We played Philadelphia. We were to split the series. Then we're losing the series to the Mets. It all started that game. They have to come back, figure out a way to breathe life back into this team, because to me, it was a very early, but it seemed like what's the word I'm looking for? Like a turning point already in the season.
Yeah, and it's super early. I mean, we're not even out of April.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going to happen. Let's say Bednar has to come in and get a save on Friday. Will he get cheered?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so too. All right, well, we're going to have Ralph Williams on the other side of this break here. You guys have been listening to WBBP 99.3 FM and 1230 AM. We'll be right back to One Man's Opinion on Sports.
Hey, can you imagine trying to hit a fastball or throwing a runner out at home? It's hard to think of doing these things under perfect circumstances, let alone with the distraction and discomfort of dental issues. Regular dental care from Dr. C. Timothy Lip can improve your productivity, happiness, and focus, even if you're not in the big leagues. Dental problems affect more than just your teeth. Visit lipdentistry.com or Dr. C. Timothy Lip Family Dental Offices on College Hill and Robinson Township.
Whether it's Little League or the big leagues, it's time to get out and play ball. Friendly Federal Credit Union reminds you that every team looks forward to playing at home in front of a live crowd. Seeing loyal fans can help any player feel more comfortable. Just like a home game in baseball, Friendly Federal Credit Union always has friendly faces to help and cheer you on at the teller window. Now get out of that dugout and in front of your cheering section. The personal live tellers at Friendly Federal Credit Union.
This is Andy Toole, men's basketball coach at Robert Morris University, here to talk about my friends at Falcone Moon Township Ford. I know what it takes to win a basketball game. It begins with practice and a team of players who want to win. The same is true of the team at Moon Township Ford. Professionals who will win you over. They'll find the best rate and terms on a car loan to help you get the best deal. Make a fast break and avoid the roadblocks that stop you from finding the car you want. Go where I go. Moon Township Ford.
Falcone's Moon Township Ford, where friends send friends.
Be the grilling expert on your block and buy a grill built to last like the Weber Spirit or Broil King Pro for $829 or the Napoleon Freestyle for just $449. Plus free assembly and delivery. Check out our full lineup of Amish-made outdoor poly furniture on display now and take an extra 10% off until May 15th. Grills and outdoor furniture built to last. Only at AK Nahhouse Appliance, Furniture, Mattress, and TV in Industry, PA. You'll do okay with AK.
Now back to One Man's Opinion with Bryan Pasquale.
Welcome back to One Man's Opinion on Sports with me, Bryan Pasquale. I'm here at the St. Barnabas Studios. Joining me today is my producer, Ryan Garazunas. Also, make sure you check us out on Beaver County Radio Facebook Live and Beaver County Radio YouTube. Today's show is sponsored by Easy Home Exteriors. They do roofing, replacement windows, doors, and entryways, as well as siding. Easy Home Exteriors is a one-stop shop for all of your exterior remodeling needs. For a free estimate, call 412-678-7008. That's 412-678-7008. All right, on the line we have Ralph Williams from Sports Corner. You can catch him every Tuesday from 4 to 6 here on Beaver County Radio. Welcome to the show, Ralph.
Hey, thanks for having me on, Brian. How are you today?
I'm doing well. I've got a couple Pitt things to go over before we get into some NFL draft stuff, if that's all right with you.
That's perfect, man. I have some news.
Okay, well, why don't you break the news?
Okay. Today, there was a tweet out there by Dayon Hayes. And those of you who don't know, Dayon Hayes went to Westinghouse High School. He was picked up, Pitt recruited him. He started for 4 seasons at Pitt, and now he's transferring out of Pitt. And here is what his statement was. He said, and I quote, that the reason I'm leaving is because there's no intensity in the locker room to win this year.
Wow. Okay, well, yeah. I wonder what that's all about. You know, if he's just disgruntled or if there's truth to it.
Well, I think he might be partially disgruntled. I asked Jerry DePaul about that yesterday when I had him on from the Tribune Review. He told me it had nothing to do with the coaches or anything. But I noticed at the spring game, he was playing against third stringers. He wasn't playing against first stringers or anything like that. And there was some I also read a couple reports that he was kind of like in the doghouse. I guess he felt that He could come in and, just kind of dink around or whatever. And a lot of these guys are unhappy about the fact that Charlie Partridge left the program, the defensive line coach and assistant head coach. So, we're going to find out where Pitt goes with this year.
Now, you were down at the blue and gold game, correct?
I was.
Now, what happened down there? Give us the report.
Well, that Eli Hornstein looks really good. He's that freshman quarterback that we got in the transfer portal from Alabama. From what I hear, as of right now, it's Nate Yarnell will be our starting quarterback, and then Eli Hornstein will be the backup quarterback. They have, now since Christian Velour yesterday announced he was transferring, they have 5 quarterbacks on the roster right now. So they have that many quarterbacks, but the 2 main ones are going to be Nate Yarnell and Eli Hornstein, the new guy they got from Alabama. It looked pretty good. Bartholomew looked good. He caught some passes. We got to see a lot of rollouts by the quarterback. Release the ball within 15 seconds, not hold on to it for 15 or 20 seconds and get sacked. The only one that did that was that kid from Penn Hills. He started the one series, and he held the ball too long and got sacked for a 10-yard sack. But Cade Bell wants this as a go offense. He wants the ball in hand, released within 15 seconds, out of hand. So, and that's how the go offense works. My question is this year, guys, is going to be the fact that do they have the talent to really run this offense? Cade Bell's going to have to tweak this offense a little bit. I don't think he has the talent. I know he brought a few guys here with him from Western Carolina. There were 19 people injured. As of right now, there's 19 players hurt. They were held out. And 2 of them happened to be 2 offensive weapons that came with Cade Bell from Western Carolina. So, with that, I hope that Pitt can get this together. Their schedule's not too bad this year, guys. They actually have a pretty decent schedule, and they have California University from California, not in Pennsylvania here or Pittsburgh or whatever. They have the actual Cal University coming to Acrisure Stadium this year, and we're going to SMU to play them. And next year, SMU comes here. So we're going to see some new teams this year with Pitt football, and I hope that everyone embraces it and gets out to see these games.
Right. Okay, well, moving to the basketball side of Pitt, this Brandon Cummings from Lincoln Park here, local kid, he got moved from a 3-star recruit to a 4-star recruit. Do you know anything about that and why the jump?
Well, I guess, they have a rating system where they rate these athletes, and I guess they took a look at a couple of things with him, with either footage or they were at games, and determined that he's now a 4-star recruit, and he's going to Pitt. And that's great for Pitt. Pitt landed yesterday, and Sports Corner yesterday, Brian, got the report before anybody in town got it from Jerry DePaula. He was at the press conference yesterday where they have landed recruit Damian Dunn, who is a 6'5" guard, and they land from Houston, and then they landed a Sam Corkin from Florida State, a 6'10" center. So they're really good transfers that came into the system and will be playing for Pitt this year. And Pitt needs this because as of today, Federico has transferred to Texas Tech. So, they lost some players, some key players, and Jeff Capel, the minute Pitt was done with their game, at the end of the season, the minute they were done, they started recruiting and started going out there and getting recruits and getting transfers. So they've been on the phones. They've been very busy. Jerry DePaula released this yesterday. He was late getting on my show, but it was great because he came on and gave us this breaking news yesterday, guys.
Nice. There was a 5-star recruit, I guess, that is interested in Pitt. I mean, he has like a list of about 8 other schools on there. He was going to go to Kentucky, I guess, but with Calipari moving, John L. Boogie Fland, a five-star point guard, I guess he sent something out to Pitt that he's interested.
Yes, absolutely. Well, it took Jeff Capel a little while to get things going here. You do know he was the chief recruiter and head assistant under Mike Krzyzewski down in Duke. And, he's very good at recruiting, and he has a good group of assistants that are very good at recruiting. Tim O'Toole, still with him, his brother, still with him, Jeff Capel's brother, Timmy. So, they have guys who can really, really recruit, and it's great that if they get this guy, this is going to be really good for this program.
All right, moving on to, I guess, the Steelers. We've got the draft coming up in 8 days. You doing anything special on your show for the draft, Ralph?
I am. I have 8 guests, including yourself, if you can make it. But I have 7 other guests, and I got to tell you, I got 3 reporters, prominent reporters from the Post-Gazette coming on. I have Ray Fittipaldo, Jason Mackey, and Chris Carter, and a very, very special guest, former Steeler running back Tim Worley will join us for the show.
That's great. I'll be in good company then.
Sponsored Draft 412. What's that, Brian?
I said I'll be in good company then.
Yes, indeed. I have 8 guests set up for Tuesday. It's my draft spectacular. And then Sunday, after the draft on the 28th, 7 p.m., YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter, brought to you by a Sports Corner radio show. We will have a draft review. I'm going to get a bunch of guys on, and I've already invited you and Smoke and Jim, myself, and we're going to find out who else I can get on there for that.
Sounds great. I still saw a report that the Steelers are still going after Brandon Ayuk. Any word on that?
Well, that's been going on for a while now, and they're going after the defense or the cornerback from Denver too. They're supposed to be going after him. I don't see anything going on with any of these until after the draft or during the draft. I'm hearing there's going to be a trade made. The Steelers are going to make some big trade or something at the draft. I'm hearing rumors about that, but we're going to find out what happens when the draft starts, because I got a feeling Omar Khan's up to something, and we're going to find out what it is. But the breaking news today was, guys, the Steelers have decided they're going to build a brand new practice facility, and they're going to be there on their own. And the facility over in the south side will be pit only. And that, I don't know how long it's going to take to build this new facility. I don't even know if they have a site picked. But that survey that the players sent out, about a month ago, said that the Steelers have the worst practice facilities in the entire league. The ownership of the Steelers took heart to that and have decided that they're going to pull away from Pitt. Steelers guys have egg on their face because Pitt actually put a heap of money into their side of the building, a bunch of money that they got from Aaron Donald and from some donors. They put a heap of money into that place down there. I heard it's nice down there now on the Pitt side of it. But now Pitt will get that in full scale once the Steelers move out and move into their new facility. They're planning on, they have to find the land, and they're going to build a new facility for practice, and a practice field.
All right. When you hear more about that, especially the site, I'm curious of where they'll find a plot of land and how close it'll be. Yeah. But whenever you find that out, be sure to let me know.
I will. I will let everyone know about it. But the thing is, guys, and I know this is a fact because I when I drove a cab, I knew a lot of the Steeler players. A lot of them live over there on the south side, and this is going to be interesting to see, what their leases are like over there, because a lot of them live in that south side works apartments. They live up at the Holly Hill condos up in Baldwin. There's a few sites over in south side that they live close by to the facility, so we're going to find out what happens with that. I don't even know how long it's going to take to build a new facility.
It's funny because Percy Harvin's rookie year, right before he moved into an apartment, I actually had to fix it up. It was a 3-bedroom, nice little condo there in Baldwin. And I fixed up, and I was all excited because I was like, oh, he's going to be good. And then he would be good 1 out of about 10 kicks.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, you know what? That's probably the Holly Hill Estates. That used to be a country club up there. That's where the majority of the Steelers.
Yeah, it was right by the pool. It was a nice little condo there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's called the Holly Hill Estates up there. Yeah, it used to be a country club at one time.
Well, Ralph, we have about 1 more minute. Do you want to express your thoughts on the Penguins season, I guess?
Well, I told everybody, nobody believed me, this team is slow. This team was what I said was not going to make the playoffs. Mediocre Mike Sullivan has to go. I think it's time for this team and Fenway Group to start waking up and doing some major changes in this team. I guess they're going to have to keep these core players. They got guaranteed contracts or whatever, no trade clauses. This is a real cluster screw, and Ron Hextall has set this team back at least 5 years.
Oh, Hextall messed everything up. I don't know, and I actually caught myself rooting for the Flyers last night, and that with, like, what was it, like 3:08 left? They pulled their goalie on a 1-1 game. I guess they were desperate, but...
Oh, yeah, absolutely. They were desperate, and, maybe this will teach the Penguins a little bit of a lesson, that you don't when you have a salary cap like this, you can't be handing out money like this. I know you want to keep your core players here to maybe win another Stanley Cup before they all go off in the sunset, but they're doing like what the Steelers did with Ben Bryant and Ryan, and it's hurting the team, okay? Overall it's hurting the team.
Absolutely. All right, well, thanks for joining us today, Ralph.
Anytime, Brian. Thank you for having me. Ryan, also have a good day, the two of you there, and enjoy yourselves. Oh, by the way, Monday on my show, the way we see it on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter X platforms, I'm going to blast Kennywood. This is unacceptable. Shut down the ride 2 days before you're supposed to open up.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, make sure you guys check out Ralph Williams on Sports Corner every Tuesday from 4 to 6 here on Beaver County Radio. Thanks again, Ralph.
You're welcome. Have a great one, guys. Thank you.
All right, guys, we're going to have Dan Neely on the other side of the break here. You guys have been listening to WBVP 99.3 FM and 1230 AM. We will be right back to One Man's Opinion on Sports.
The Rochester True Value, located inside the Shop and Save on the Ohio River Boulevard, is proudly serving the community. The Rochester True Value is independently owned and operated and has experienced workers who can help you with your home projects. The Rochester True Value has tools, products, and all the equipment needed for you to get the job done. The Rochester True Value inside the Shop and Save is open and ready to help with your home improvements. That's the Rochester True Value in Shop and Save on the Ohio River Boulevard.
Thinking of what's good for lunch or dinner? Make it McDonald's with a hot and spicy McChicken sandwich available now for a limited time only. Enjoy crispy, tender chicken seasoned with a bold mix of spices, topped with shredded lettuce mayo, and served on a perfectly toasted bun. McDonald's, I'm loving it.
Whether it's Little League or the big leagues, it's time to get out and play ball. Friendly Federal Credit Union reminds you that every team looks forward to playing at home in front of a live crowd. Seeing loyal fans can help any player feel more comfortable. Just like a home game in baseball, Friendly Federal Credit Union always has friendly faces to help and cheer you on at the teller window. Now get out of that dugout and in front of your cheering section, the personal live tellers at Friendly Federal Credit Union.
Hey, can you imagine trying to hit a fastball or throwing a runner out at home? It's hard to think of doing these things under perfect circumstances, let alone with the distraction and discomfort of dental issues. Regular dental care from Dr. C. Timothy Lip can improve your productivity, happiness, and focus, even if you're not in the big leagues. Dental problems affect more than just your teeth. Visit lipdentistry.com or Dr. C. Timothy Lip Family Dental Offices on College Hill and Robinson Township.
Now, back to One Man's Opinion with Bryan Pasquale.
Welcome back to One Man's Opinion on Sports with me, Bryan Pasquale. I'm here at the St. Barnabas Studios. Joining me today is my producer, Ryan Garrett-Zunas. Also, make sure you check us out on Beaver County Radio Facebook Live and Beaver County Radio YouTube. Today's show is sponsored by Easy Home Exteriors. They do roofing replacement, windows, doors, and entryways, as well as siding. Easy Home Exteriors is your one-stop shop for all of your exterior remodeling needs. For a free estimate, call 412-678-7008. That's 412-678-7008. All right, for this segment, guys, I want to talk about the Steelers and the draft that's coming up. Next week, I am going to be doing my show with Ryan here in studio, and we will be on from 4 p.m. till 6:15 leading into the Pirates pregame. One of our guests will be Dan Neely. We'll be hearing from him in just a second. We're really going to get into the draft next week, so that's why we're doing the extra hour and 15 minutes. Some of the positions that the Steelers definitely need are cornerback, center, tackle, D-line, but today we are going to specialize in the wide receiver position. So right now we have the Bills insider, the NFL expert, our fantasy guru, the dancing destroyer, the king of sting, the Count Amani Fisco, the prince of punch, the master of disaster, the one, the only, Dan, the man, Neely. Welcome to the show, Dan.
Hey.
So let me jump in here real quick. Now, you guys have a history. You guys know one another. I want to know if there's any background behind these names that you give Dan. Let's say, for example, the Dancing Destroyer. Is there a story to these, or is this something you're just coming up with and throwing at?
There is nothing behind any of that.
Okay.
That's all flash, no bash.
Okay, all right. I had to ask about that.
The only history we have is anytime I call Dan, his immediate response is the Minnesota Vikings horn.
Okay.
Every time I call, that's his first.
Yeah,
there it is.
First down horn.
So yeah, you get a first down, like when Randy Moss caught him back in the 90s and whatnot. So, all right, Dan, welcome to the show. I guess you did some research on about 20 different wide receivers. Why don't you tell us what you got for the Steelers?
Well, I really love this wide receiver class. The last few years, the wide receivers that are coming into the NFL are just so much better than they were in the past. And I think one of the reasons is this whole flag football is now, when we were kids, we played midget football, and we wore pads, and we tackled each other, and no one threw the ball. And then they switched that to flag football, and everybody started throwing. And now the kids are making it to the NFL that grew up catching passes and running routes, and you can really tell. And, in particular, this class, compared to last year, has 27 players graded higher than Puka Nacua was last year, who set the rookie record for receptions. It's a really interesting class. And, with that being said, I like to think that these guys, there's a lot of great prospects that go into the NFL that don't pan out. And it's not always because they're not physically able to play. A lot of it has to do with where they go and how they fit, And when I was looking at the prospects to talk about today, I was trying to think of who would fit a Russell Wilson-led team and who would fit a Justin Fields-led team. And those are the prospects that, I wanted to focus on today when I talked to you guys here in Pittsburgh, because you get the wrong guy. He could be the right guy somewhere else, but the wrong guy for Pittsburgh, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
So, Pittsburgh, in my opinion, with the quarterbacks they have, they're going to be looking for more of that X or Y boundary receiver. I think spending a high pick on a slot guy would just be a waste.
Right.
You're not really going to see a lot of slot production out of a Russell Wilson quarterback team or a Justin Fields quarterback team. And, with that being said, you guys do have one good boundary receiver with Pickens already. And I think that's important. And really, I feel like if you could have two George Pickens on your team, that would be phenomenal. And if you could have a guy with more speed to stretch the field, that would be even better. And this draft happens to have a whole bunch of big, tall, fast receivers. And the first four guys are probably going to be gone by the Steelers' pick at 20. Marvin Harrison Jr., I'm sure anybody that's into football has heard about him. Malik Neighbors, he's from LSU. He's not as big, but he is kind of like a Jamar Chase type of generational talent at wide receiver. Rome Odunze, 6'3", 215, runs a 4.4. He would be a great fit. Brian Thomas Jr., 6'4", 205, runs a 4.33. I think this guy would be the absolute best fit in Pittsburgh, in my opinion. Brian Thomas scored 10 touchdowns last year just on go routes. He had 17 touchdowns just last year.
That's more than the Steelers.
Russell Wilson and Justin Fields do a great job of throwing the deep ball, especially the go route. if I'm the Steelers GM and one of those guys is going to be my quarterback, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to pick a guy that my quarterback's going to throw the ball to that fits what he does. And Brian Thomas Jr. is a great fit. He's probably going to go right around the Steelers pick at 20. I know you shared an article with me the other day saying the Steelers and the Bills might be a match made in heaven for a trade. And that would be so the Bills can draft Bryan Thomas Jr. And that would be the only reason the Bills would trade up to 20 for.
If I was him, I'd rather catch passes from Allen than Russell Wilson for sure.
Well, they don't get to choose, though. That's the beauty of it.
Right.
Right. And there's another guy out of Texas. His name's Adonai Mitchell. He's a junior. He's 6'4". He's a little thin. He's about 196 pounds, but he's a burner. He runs like a 4.3, and some people have him ranked ahead of Brian Thomas Jr. I saw a clip the other day with Adam Schefter. He said that he believes Mitchell will be drafted ahead of Brian Thomas Jr.
How's Brian spelled?
There's another option at 20. Xavier Legette is a A.J. Brown type of receiver. He's kind of like, some people have him in the first round. Some people have him more around 50. I see you guys have the 51st pick.
Yes.
If you wanted to get a T.O. type, A.J. Brown type of guy, Xavier Legette is that guy. He's a senior. He's 6'3", 227. And he runs sub 4.40 at 227 pounds, which is insane.
Right.
The guy is an absolute beast. He can high point the ball. He can run all the routes. But he's a senior, and he didn't really get great production until his senior year. And he's kind of got an interesting story. Both of his parents died when he was in high school, and I don't think that him not playing well until he was a senior, maybe a little bit more because he just needed time to mature with what happened in his life. I don't think it's a reflection of his skill set.
Well, I know when we were in college, we weren't very mature ourselves, Dan.
You were a great athlete in college. I'll just tell the air that. Brian was good at everything. He was the quarterback of our flag football team. He was the best basketball player in our fraternity. He reffed all the events, and we couldn't get him to play in a lot of stuff because he had to ref, and it would just make me so mad because Brian was our best player, and he was reffing.
I think I reffed one of our games, actually, and I think I threw one of our fraternity members out, if I do recall. It was a deck hockey game.
And I had to come in. You were refereeing a soccer game.
Oh, that's what it was.
Greek week, and we got in a fight with the opposing fraternity, and you threw like 4 guys out. And I never played soccer in my life, and I had to come in out of the stands and finish the game.
And you didn't understand what offsides meant.
You blew the whistle. Yeah, you blew the whistle like 7 times in 2 minutes, and I'm like, Brian, what do you keep blowing the whistle for? And you're like, offside. And I'm like, what? Who are you calling it on? You're like, you. And I'm like, I don't even know what that is. What is it? You're like, you can't go across this line unless you got the ball. I'm like, oh, like hockey? You're like, yeah, like hockey.
Those good times, good times. Well, here's my thing. Dan, if the Steelers can't, in the first or second round, get a wide receiver, is it deep enough to get somebody that can come in and maybe eventually start this season? Because they don't have any receivers.
There is literally 4 rounds worth of starting receivers in this draft, and it's all about finding the guy that fits what you need. I truly believe that there's 25 receivers that could go to a Josh Allen type led team and succeed in this draft. If you had the good stud quarterback, I truly believe there's a lot of receiver talent and depth in this draft. I mean, there's so many guys that could be first round grades that it's impossible to draft them all in the first round.
Well, that's good news for the Steelers because they literally have one wide receiver and a bunch of number 4s.
Tell you my favorite wide receiver prospect that nobody's talking about. When you get the chance, look up some video about Johnny Wilson from Florida State. The guy is 6'6" and 3'8". He's 237 pounds. He run a 4.52 40. But more important than anything, when you watch the film, he doesn't look like a giant lumbering buffoon out there. He looks like he's 6'2". He looks like Mike Evans, probably. I think the guy, if put in the right position, could end up having the best career out of any one of these prospects. And according to some people, he might not even be a top 100 talent. But this is the type of talent that's in this draft class.
Well, the Steelers have 9 picks, so even if they utilize that to move up to grab somebody that they like or to get some depth on their team, they're definitely going to need to do it. What are the Bills looking to do?
It's funny. The Bills actually have almost all exactly the same holes as the Steelers this year. So the Bills have a really big hole at wide receiver. Obviously, the whole world knows that right now. We cut our starting center, and we're moving our left guard to center, which I'm not sure if I love that idea. So we kind of have that same center need maybe. We lost 2 of our corners, 2 of our top 4 corners left. So we have that cornerback need. The Bills are pretty solid, though, right now. They really don't have any glaring holes that instantly plug in a starter.
You have a backup quarterback problem, I can tell you that.
We do. And luckily for us, Josh Allen hasn't really missed a game. So we're hoping that continues. And
well, listen, Dan,
playing style, it's not going to continue.
We do have to go to break here. Can you hang on for another 5-10 minutes after the break?
Yeah. Sure.
Okay, awesome, guys. Okay, we're going to have Dan on the other side of this break. You guys have been listening to WBVP 99.3 FM and 1230 AM. We'll be right back to One Man's Opinion on Sports.
It started with a road trip into the American Midwest. Huntington bankers with one mission, to understand how people made sense of money. And that's how we met Brenda.
How do I control money? Envelopes. The first of the month, I divide up my cash. 1 envelope for groceries, 1 for gas, 1 for fun. It helps plan out my spending.
And that's how we came up with digital envelopes for your checking account. Our customers give us the best ideas. Huntington, welcome. Member FDIC. Learn more at huntington.com.
Are you ready to start your career journey? Turn your dream into a degree at Community College of Beaver County. With over 35 degrees and pathways in business, health science, STEM, aviation, and more, CCBC can help you navigate to your destination. Which will you choose? Enroll now for spring classes and start your journey. Learn more at ccbc.edu. Real learning for real life. Beaver County Radio, your hometown radio station. You're listening live from the Fry Transportation Studios. Beaver County Radio and Fry Transportation, proud to call Beaver County home.
This is Andy Toole, men's basketball coach at Robert Morris University, here to talk about my friends at Falcone Moon Township Ford. I know what it takes to win a basketball game. It begins with practice and a team of players who want to win. The same is true of the team at Moon Township Ford. Professionals who will win you over. They'll find the best rate and terms on a car loan to help you get the best deal. Make a fast break and avoid the roadblocks that stop you from finding the car you want. Go where I go. Moon Township Ford.
Falcone's Moon Township Ford, where friends send friends.
Now, back to One Man's Opinion with Bryan Pasquale.
Welcome back to One Man's Opinion on Sports with me, Bryan Pasquale. I'm here at the St. Barnabas Studios. Joining me today is my producer, Ryan Garazunas. Also, make sure you guys check us out on Beaver County Radio Facebook Live and Beaver County Radio YouTube. Today's show is sponsored by Easy Home Exteriors. They do roofing, replacement windows, doors, and entryways, as well as siding. Easy Home Exteriors is a one-stop shop for all of your exterior remodeling needs. For a free estimate, call 412-678-7008. That's 412-678-7008. All right, we have our NFL expert Dan Neely on with us here. Dan, we're going to go till about 5:55, so that's about 7 more minutes. I want you to touch on the Russell Wilson and Justin Fields, let's just say, battle, and what you think is going to happen by week 1?
I can tell you what. If I was the coach, I think I know exactly what would happen. But Mike Tomlin really put the twist in everything. He doesn't. I don't know. He just doesn't make moves that I'm always in agreeing with. But I do believe that Russell Wilson's career in the NFL is on its downside, and I also do believe that Justin Fields is a very, very unique talent. And I see him, if he was in the right place, in the right system, I really see him as more of a Lamar Jackson type of talent than a lot of people want to give him credit for. He's absolutely talented enough to turn into a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. I mean, his highlights are just about unmatched by anybody. And his lowlights, in my opinion, are all very correctable situations. The guy has more fourth quarter interceptions and since he's entered the league than anyone else by a large margin. But it's because he's always trailing by more than a touchdown, and he's just not going to give up. And I love that about him. Maybe he should have just threw the ball away and punted, but they were definitely going to lose if he did that. And instead, he took a chance. And I like when quarterbacks do that. Russell Wilson, now he's going to do the smart thing and throw it away and punt, right? So that's the difference. If you want to win games the way the Steelers have traditionally won games with Kenny Pickett, Russell Wilson's probably your guy. He's going to lose less games. He's not going to win you the game, but he's not going to lose the game either. And if you think that your defense, your special teams, and the rest of the team can pull out the win for you, I see Russell Wilson being the guy they go with. But if you want more from your quarterback position, and you want your quarterback to maybe eventually be a Pro Bowl starter, or maybe eventually lead you to a Super Bowl, or maybe actually be better than the Ravens and the Bengals and the Browns, I think that Fields is really the only option.
This is Ryan, Dan. I got a question for you. Now, your team, obviously, Buffalo, has no issues with quarterback. You guys know what you're doing. You know what you're getting. Let me ask you this, Dan. If you were in Mike Tomlin's shoes going into this offseason and getting prepared for next season, who of the two guys do you think ultimately that you would go with between Justin Fields and Russell Wilson? And and I pretty much I understand where the whys and the why nots as you just described. But who would you go with? Who would you, Dan? Who would you pick as your quarterback to lead this team?
To me, it's a no-brainer. It's Justin Fields, and it's for more than just the reason that I think he's more talented. They have to decide whether or not they're going to pick up his fifth-year option. If they don't pick up his fifth-year option, they're both probably gone after this year.
Right.
And the fifth-year option's enough money that you don't just blindly pick that up. You're not just going to pick up the fifth-year option unless he proves that he deserves it. It's too much money. You can't afford to have. You're not going to get a Russell Wilson for $1 million ever again.
You're right.
That was a once in 100-year type of situation that you lucked into there.
Yeah.
So, in my opinion, I'm rolling with Fields. Fields is the starter. Russell Wilson's a cheap backup in my mind, right? And I'm not trying to take anything away from what he's done, but I can tell you one thing: he's not the guy to teach the next guy to be a great quarterback. He does not embrace that role. He is not gonna. If the Steelers drafted a quarterback in the first round, Russell Wilson's not going to have anything to do with grooming him to be the quarterback of the future. And I don't see him helping Justin Fields much this year. I don't see Justin Fields sitting behind Russell Wilson like Patrick Mahomes sat behind Alex Smith, and having Justin Fields come out next year and tear up the league just like Patrick Mahomes did after watching Alex Smith do all the right things all the right times and just not have the talent that Mahomes had.
It's interesting. I appreciate that. It's hard to say. I mean, here in Pittsburgh, you get the general opinion. People are generally saying that Russell Wilson's going to get the spot. And it's interesting to see somebody coming from especially an AFC rival, to see how they look at it as well. That's really interesting, Dan.
I love fantasy football, and I'm so into it that I play it all year round. And right now they have pre-draft leagues on Underdog and Drafters, and they're called best ball leagues. And the way that they work is they're 12-team leagues, and you draft. It's a fast draft. You sign up that costs $10 to play in the league, and they draft the whole entire 20 rounds, 12 teams, 20 rounds, and the whole world is in agreement that Justin Fields should start there based off of what I'm seeing in these best ball leagues. Like, for example, Justin Fields is being selected somewhere between picks 150 and 170. And to me, that's great value there, because if he starts the whole year, he could be a top 10 fantasy quarterback. And he's going like 23rd, right? And Russell Wilson, he's going right around pick 215. So, they're picking 60 to 80 players after Fields, before Wilson. So, I think the book's out on Wilson. I think that for the most part, people that are into fantasy don't want him on their team anymore. They'd rather take a chance and having Fields on their team as the non-starter than having Wilson on the team as the starter. And I've drafted Fields myself on 3 or 4 of these lineups, and I don't even really contemplate handcuffing him with Russell Wilson. I'd rather just not have Wilson on my team. It's Fields or bust in my mind.
Okay.
Well, Dan, we have about 2 minutes left with you, because I got to get into a couple things just for next week's show. I got to prep the audience here. So can you give me like 90 seconds, okay? We had a discussion the one day, and I'm sick of like Tiger Woods. I'm tired of seeing LeBron James. I was sick and tired of seeing Tom Brady, and now I'm already sick and tired of seeing Patrick Mahomes, just because they're constantly in the news. You have a little theory on Tom Brady, all of his late comeback wins. Why don't you tell the audience about that? In 90 seconds or less.
Okay. You want to watch the most boring highlight reel that you've ever seen in your entire life? Go on YouTube right now to any listener.
At 6.
When Brian's show's over, go on YouTube, type in every game-winning drive, Tom Brady, into YouTube and hit enter. And there will be a video that comes up. It's about 19 minutes long, and it has every single one of Tom Brady's game-winning drives in the playoffs on this video. And let me tell you what, it is nothing but handoffs, checkdowns, and game-winning field goals. And look at the score. The score is 17-14, 20-17, 13-10. Look, I'm not trying to take anything away from Tom Brady, but the guy, everybody acts like he was out there scoring 40 points a game, breaking every quarterback's record there ever was. And the truth is, the guy just checked it down for 20 years in a row and kicked field goals and relied on his defenses keeping the opponents under 20 points.
All right, maybe we'll get into that more next week. We will have Dan Neely on next week. Remember, we will be on from 4 p.m. till 6:15 next week, so we'll have Dan on for a couple segments there. We're not sure of the slotted time. Dan, anything else before we let you go?
No, not really. Just one last thing is, I know that the Steelers don't appear like they have a lot of money, and I know I touched on this the last time, but the Steelers really have a ton of cap flexibility still. So whenever you're looking at, things that you want them to do, don't ever paint them in a bad cap situation. If they want to get Justin Jefferson, they can totally afford it. They want to get Brandon Ayuk, they can totally afford it. It's all doable stuff.
All right. Great stuff as always, Dan, and we'll be looking forward to talking to you next week.
Thanks, Dan.
Yep, can't wait to talk to you guys next week.
All right, guys. That was Dan Neely. Hopefully he can promote his podcast and website next week. We'll get all of that information from him. What a good show, Ryan. Ryan's not listening to me. He's looking at the screen.
It was a good show. Very interesting, Brian. I look forward to next week. Of course, the draft, big thing here in Pittsburgh. We need things. We need positions. We need players. A lot of anticipation, opinions going around. I can't wait, Brian. Next week is going to be a big show.
Yes, so next week from 4 p.m. till 6:15, we are going to have Dan Neely on. We're going to have Ralph Williams on. We are going to have the famous YouTuber Scap Attack, and we're going to talk about some NBA with him, as well as some Mike Tomlin with him. Anything else before we get going here, Ryan?
Let's go Pirates. Of course, the Penguins finish up tonight, game 82. The Pirates back at it against the Mets. They got the Red Sox this weekend. Guys, the big story right now in the Berg is the draft. I can't wait to see who we get, Brian.
8 days. All right, we will see you guys back here in 167 hours. You've been listening to WBBP 99.3 and 1230 AM.
You've been listening to One Man's Opinion on Sports with Bryan Pasquale on Beaver County Radio. Don't forget, you can watch the show on WBBP-WMBA Facebook page anytime. Tune in next Wednesday from 5 to 6 p.m. for One Man's Opinion.